welcome in. I'm the Kodiak Broncos Podcast, and I'm here to talk about the fact that Jaquan McMillian is still a huge piece to the Broncos secondary. And before I get into it, I just want to say leave a like if you enjoy, subscribe if you're not already. You always wait till the end. Hopefully, I'll earn it. And yeah, let's dive right into it because we have no time to waste. So, with us picking Jahdae Barron, a lot of people think that something is going to happen to McMillian. A lot of people think that we're going to bench him. A lot of people think that he's expendable. I mean, they're not entirely wrong by saying he's expendable, but that requires a lot of context as well. But Jaquan McMillian was an absolute dog for us last year. And I think a lot of the people who have said, oh, we needed to do this because Jaquan McMillian is not good. I think a lot of people are having a selective memory when it comes to Jaquan McMillian because I don't remember a lot of people saying we needed to upgrade the nickel before we headed into the draft. And you know what? It makes sense to upgrade everywhere at the secondary, everywhere you can in the secondary, especially because, you have Patrick Surtain and you want guys behind Surtain who can, answer the door when the bell is called. But listen, I get the frustrations about McMillian. I get why a lot of people remember the negative plays from last year. But a lot of people, I feel like, don't remember the positive plays. I feel like a lot of people don't remember that down to down, I think McMillian had basically been one of the best slot corners in the NFL. And if you look at it, if you look at the raw stats, it's not great. If you look at the raw stats and you're like, wow, he gave up 800 yards, you're just like, dang, that's not good at all. But guess what? He was very, very well as far as he did very well as far as EPA. He did very well as far as, yards per coverage snap. He did very well as far as, how many times he got targeted per snap. So Jaquan McMillian had a very, very good last year. And let's not forget, this defense requires so much from its secondary, particularly its cornerback play. And, when you have Patrick Surtain, it makes sense. But Riley Moss, he answered the bell last year as well. Jaquan McMillian, I thought he did as well. Not as much as Riley Moss, but you know what? When you have the toughest slot job in the league, I think the fact that he was able to play as well as he did last year, and, there were plays where he took off. There were plays where it was a little ugly. But guess what? For every ugly play I saw from McMillian, I saw at least 2 or 3 plays where I'm just like, dang, wow, that was awesome. And I'm really happy he's our slot corner. He was good last year. A lot of people don't want to say it. A lot of people want to say that he struggled last year, but I can't agree with that sentiment at all. If you look at the raw stats, yes, he was not good last year. But if you look at the film, I feel like the film doesn't lie. And we're going to watch a ton of Jaquan McMillian film. And listen, Jahdae Barron will take snaps away. I'm not going to say that he won't. Jahdae Barron used a first-round pick on him. So naturally, with the investment, I think Barron's also just going to be a flat-out better player. He's going to take some snaps away. But Jaquan McMillian is going to be on the field a lot next year. And guess what? He's going to be on the field a lot at the same time as Jahdae Barron because, okay, McMillian can't really play anywhere else besides the slot. That's completely fine. But guess what? Jahdae Barron can play anywhere. He can play wide corner. He can play slot. He can play some safety. He can play box. So, listen, if you're going to line up Jahdae Barron anywhere and you're going to use him as your Cooper DeJean, Jaquan McMillian is still a huge piece to the secondary. And let's just watch some film because I feel like a lot of people are kind of disrespecting McMillian and not putting enough respect on his name. The first clip right here, I'm going to show you the bad as well as the good because Jaquan McMillian is not a perfect player. And you're going to see some of his limitations here, while we're in the first part of this film study. But so this first clip, okay, just keep an eye on him. I'm going to highlight him. And he actually does get cooked right here and he ends up falling down against Josh Palmer. Now, call it whatever you want, unfortunate, I don't know, bad luck or whatever, but he did struggle a little bit at the beginning of the year in particular to carry these routes across the middle of the field. And it's just one of those things that, he is a limited player. I'm not going to disagree with that. 3.6 relative athletic scores, so he does have his limitations. But guess what? He's still a gamer, and, even though things like this happen, he's still a very, very valuable piece to this defense, and he's still going to be on the field a lot. Like him and Barron are going to be on the field quite a bit. Once again, you're going to watch this from the tight. Just not very good. Not really what you want from your defense, but, I promise, we'll get there. So I'm going to show you this second clip right now. I'm going to watch it play out in real time, and this is a 7-second play by the Chiefs that should have been a sack, but guess what? Pause right here and look. McMillian does not recognize that P. Ryan's coming across the formation, and unfortunately, P. Ryan does end up getting quite a few yards in that regard as well. So P. Ryan just kind of slips out here. Like, once again, this was a really long play. Watch Benito. He should have taken him down here, which is the most painful part, but he doesn't. Mahomes does his thing, and, McMillian doesn't recognize it until way too late that P. Ryan is streaking across the middle of the field. And yeah, it's just one of those things where it's just like, you got to play with your head up. Got to be honest, Vance Joseph was not really in his bag with this one. This was 3rd and 10, and I don't know why you dialed up an all-out blitz on 3rd and 10 when we had done a great job against the Packers or Jets receivers. But so this is one where Jaquan McMillian does get beat a little bit on the slant right here because Brandon Jones does end up taking the tight end, Tyler Conklin, I believe. Or no, I don't know. But either way, so Jaquan McMillian is in the middle of the field right here, and he just gets a little beat. And this was a really tough assignment because there was no safety help to speak of. You threw Brandon Jones, in coverage against the tight end, and you didn't really have a lot of help. And the 5'10" corner gets beat by the 6'5" receiver on a slant. Not really that big of a deal. Okay, this one, this is one where this is a green dog blitz, meaning if Jaquan McMillian recognizes that they're going to run the ball, then he has to crash the line of scrimmage. If he thinks they're passing, then he has to stay back a little bit. Unfortunately, he is the nearest defender here, and he is a split second late, and he is a split second undisciplined as far as his reaction to the play. It gets into Bowers. Now, the next play afterwards was Surtain's pick 6, which completely changed our whole season. But once again, just a little unfortunate there. Just would have liked him to stay a little more disciplined, especially, on a guy like Bowers. But yeah, just gets beat a little too easily there. And yeah, this is one where I honestly don't think he plays it absolutely terribly. So if you just look at this, he is beat. Like, there is no coming back from this. Like, he is beat on this play right here. But one thing I do want you to take note of is Devin Key up here. And, PJ Locke, I can't believe the Ravens made me miss PJ Locke in a game based on how badly they were targeting Devin Key. But yeah, so Key does not carry Aguilar in a way that I would have liked him to. So he ends up running all across the formation. And once again, a lot of these can just be tracked up to miscommunication. We had a lot of young players in the secondary. I think with a more experienced secondary, a more experienced defense in general, like Greenlaw, Hufanga, I think they're going to fix all these issues, especially in the middle of the field, which is where Jaquan McMillian is, playing because he's a slot corner. But the teammates around him, like Sternad, Barton, Hufanga, got a huge upgrade this past year. This is one where he just kind of, man, I don't know what to call it. It's just him against Drake London. I don't really know what more you can do. The coverage was pretty solid, but, London had a good game against him. And you know what? Drake London's a top 15 wide receiver in the NFL for a reason. And you know what? Sometimes you're just going to have these sorts of plays or whatever. So this one, once again, the lack of pass rush was absolutely staggering here. But you know what? He did about as well as he could have, I think, considering the circumstances. And yeah, once again, when you watch this from the tight, just recognize that the pass rush really did not do a great job here. Jordan Jackson just gets completely washed out of the play. Same with everybody else. Look at that pocket. And yeah. Once again, he could have done something there to make his job a little bit easier, but oh well. This is a missed tackle on Rachaad White. Now, the painful thing is, I think he would have had a shot at bringing down Rachaad White for a TFL, but unfortunately, he does stay disciplined here, but he just can't finish the play. And when you're against a guy as shifty as Rachaad White, who's really, really good as a pass catcher, like for some reason he's bad as a runner, but great as a pass catcher, you know what? You just got to complete these plays because this is the difference between, a potential negative or no game play to a 8-yard play. And luckily there were teammates around, like Singleton did come across the formation, but McMillian's got to make that play, especially earlier on. And yeah. Unfortunate right there. This one, I think I want you guys to actually watch Chris Abrams-Drain. So sorry, I know my NFL Pro, sliders at the bottom of the screen, and it's telling you like the duration of the clip, but that'll go away in a second. Either way, take a look at Chris Abrams-Drain right here. So he's pointing out to Brandon Jones. He's saying, "Hey, Brandon Jones, you got Alec Pierce." And what I actually don't know about this play is I think the bunch check right here was for Abrams-Drain to cover the guy who's currently on the inside, which I believe is Josh Downs. So he takes the guy on the inside, but McMillian does get kind of caught flat-footed right here. And you're going to notice that he doesn't really have an assignment right here that he's aware of. So Michael Pittman is left wide open. Now, unfortunately, or fortunately for us, Anthony Richardson dirts the ball. But yeah, this is just I don't know. It's just one of those things that you had Chris Abrams-Draine playing in his second game, or his first start. You had a bunch of young guys in the secondary. Like, could the communication have been more sound here? Yeah, absolutely. But oh well. All right, now we are going to show you the good about Jaquan McMillian and why I am so excited about him as a piece of this team going forward. So this one, there's a lot going on here. Like, he has to carry Fant across the formation, but this is just amazing, amazing run defense. This is just teaching tape for everybody. So he doesn't panic. He takes on a block. Like, Fant doesn't bother to block him. And then he's going to take on the fullback who's coming around right here. But boom, watch that. Love it. Love it. Well done, Jaquan McMillian. This is another play that's just absolutely amazing run defense by Jaquan McMillian here. So he recognizes immediately. He sees Kamara up here. Or I don't know where's my mouse. Oh, here we go. He sees Kamara right here. I don't know if you guys can see where my mouse is right there. But he sees Alvin Kamara, and then he recognizes, oh crap, this is a reverse. And he gets around everybody and is able to make a 7-yard stop right there. You know what? That's a huge, huge testament to his playmaking, his football IQ, and everything that goes on right there. Because this easily could have been all for a disastrous play. But then, look, just outstanding stuff right there. So this is something, I'm not going to highlight him because you can see him pretty easily up here, but look at the communication here. He's like, hey, I got my guy. He's pointing at Chris Abrams-Draine saying, look, I got him right here. And this is just a textbook PBU. I'm going to let this play out in real time. And he does an amazing pass breakup on AD Mitchell right here. Yeah. It doesn't get much better than that, honestly. Like, the communication was solid there. I know I had pointed out a miscommunication earlier in the game, but it did get better as it went on. And he just does a great job of, getting to this and making a play on the ball that AD Mitchell and knocking it out of AD Mitchell's hands. So this is amazing. This one is one of my favorite plays that Jaquan McMillian made this past year. And with a rookie, if you're replacing with a younger guy who maybe didn't know exactly what they were doing, like, I'm not going to, dunk on Barron or anything like that, but he might take some time to, read these plays and adapt to these plays. So Jaquan McMillian, you're going to see that the Chiefs have numbers. Like, they low-key have numbers for this screen right here with Kareem Hunt. But Dondre Tillman drops into coverage. Absolutely amazing call by Vance Joseph right here. And when you have Jaquan McMillian against Creed Humphrey, who do you think won that rep? Jaquan McMillian took reps like a linebacker. And this is just great execution by the entire defense. Sternad chases down Kareem Hunt. Tillman is back there just to make sure that nothing happens. And I want to highlight this. Look, Creed Humphrey right there. All-pro center. Jaquan McMillian is getting blocked by him, takes an amazing angle, and is able to do that. Like, come on, guys. You're going to tell me that this guy had a bad year last year? Okay. And this one I do want to highlight because he does not play this perfectly. Like, and that's a big thing for this play is that he does not play this perfectly. And if Bryce Young does throw this towards the boundary, they do have a touchdown. But, never panics. And instead, it winds up as a Broncos turnover. And you could say whatever you want about, like, Bryce Young coming in here when we were like a 15-point favorite or whatever and everyone expecting Carolina to get their doors blown off. But, once again, he didn't panic. And he just turns around and he's like, look what I found. Absolutely great stuff right there as well. So if you look at this play right here, this is a screen that the Jets are running. And one thing you will notice is that his man is actually supposed to go out for a slant right here. But he recognizes it immediately. He recognizes, like, hey, the slot receiver's stepping back a little bit. This is going to be a screen. And so what happens is he just recognizes it and he blows up Lazard right there. Once again, Jaquan McMillian and Lazard had quite the battle throughout this game. But you know what? Jaquan McMillian got his victories and Allen Lazard got his. And it's great when you have a scrappy corner who's a little undersized, like 5'9", that's able to go up against 6'4", 6'5" dudes. So this one, this was ruled a completion. I don't agree with the ruling, but one thing you are going to notice is that Jaquan McMillian on Yoshibas right here does a great job carrying this route. And once again, carrying routes across the middle of the field is something I thought McMillian improved greatly upon throughout the year. So they're up here, and once again, this is about as I don't know how you can play this much better considering his alignment on the defensive side of the ball. Like, I'm going to go back a little bit again. I don't know how you can play this much better considering his alignment. I don't know how you can play this much better considering your assignment, considering Jones is around the line of scrimmage above all else. And yeah, once again, I'm not upset with this at all. Um, this was a really tough assignment for him, and he played it, I think, about as well as he could have. So, it's just one of those things where did he make the play? No, but what more can you do? And don't get me wrong, there's plenty of plays that he did make, and you're gonna see him make a play in this next clip I got for you. So this is one where he just recognizes it immediately that Michael Woods did stop right here. And look, watch this. Textbook PBU. Textbook PBU right there. Well done, Jaquan McMillian. Had a great game against Cleveland, in my humble opinion. Michael Woods, big tight end, wide receiver hybrid. Jaquan McMillian does not care. This is another one where I thought he did an amazing, amazing job carrying Elijah Moore's route. Once again, later part of the year, did an amazing job and improved greatly as the year went on. So, yeah, that's just textbook right there. Just textbook middle of the field defense. Cleveland did an amazing job finding the soft spots and our holes on the defensive side of the ball. But you know what? This was a very, very tough assignment for the entire Broncos defense. But guess what? Especially without Riley Moss. But it doesn't get much better than that. This is one where a younger player may have been, or a lesser skilled player as far as, savvy with their football IQ, may have gotten caught up in a lot of stuff that's going on around the line of scrimmage. So you're going to see right here, there's a lot going on. There's a lot going on. You have two guys from Atlanta running towards the inside of the field. You have Drake London on the boundary. I don't really know what he's going to do. And then you have Kyle Pitts working across the formation. But guess what? Guess what? Jaquan McMillian makes a phenomenal PBU on Kyle Pitts. I know the ball was not great, and I know the ball was not catchable. But once again, 6'6", 240 versus 5'9", 180. Like, just the fact that he was able to make that play. And, once again, never panics, uses his instincts. He's a great player. Jaquan McMillian is a great player. This is one where he does a great job using his body. Now, you see this, and you might be like, oh, no, we're screwed. Like, the Ravens have numbers. And, if Henry does get a little more outside here, I agree. We're screwed. But he doesn't. And the fact that Jaquan McMillian is able to use his body as a decoy, he's able to, semi-contain Henry. And Henry's able to trip over the feet of his own offensive lineman. You know what? That's about as good as you could have done in that situation where you're just completely isolated from the rest of the defense right there. Let it play out again. Well done, Jaquan McMillian. And it wouldn't be a Jaquan McMillian film session if I didn't show you some of the amazing strip sacks that he has given us over the past few years. And this one happened to come against the New Orleans Saints on Thursday Night Football in week 6 or 7. I can't remember. Either way, blitzes just gets to Rattler or Hayner. I can't even remember who the quarterback in the game was at this point, but nobody picks him up, is able to knock the ball out. Well done. Well done, Jaquan McMillian. You know what? These are the plays that he makes. These are the plays that he makes for our team. And I'm not entirely convinced that this dude is just not a piece of our future. Cody Barton runs it into the end zone effortlessly. All right, now that all the film is out of the way, it's time for me to end this video by me saying that Jaquan McMillian is absolutely going nowhere. Maybe he has a diminished role with us picking Jahdae Barron, but you know what? Jaquan McMillian is going to be on the field a lot next year. And does it make sense to upgrade everywhere on your secondary? Yes, absolutely. We got absolutely cooked by the good teams last year. And a lot of the reasons why we got cooked were, a lot of the issues in the middle of the field. You talk about the PJ Locks, you talk about the Bartons, the Sternads. We got absolutely obliterated as far as, good teams up against good quarterbacks. And we were very unopportunistic when it came to playing against good quarterbacks. But guess what? Jaquan McMillian is still going to be a big part of this team in 2025. You're going to have to take some of the negative, and I get the frustrations amongst him, but if you look at the raw stats, like if you look at the box score, yeah, it's pretty eye-popping, but guess what? Jaquan McMillian had some of the most coverage snaps this year amongst any corners. Jaquan McMillian had the most slot snaps by any corner, and listen, if you look at raw stats, I agree. They're eye-popping. If you look at him like, 750 yards given up, 800 yards given up, you're probably just like, wow, That's not very good. And I can't disagree with that. But guess what? When you look at what he does on the field and what he takes away, I think that a lesser player would have allowed more. I honestly think that a lesser player would have allowed more, especially considering how much the Broncos ask for their cornerbacks. You saw it on the film. You saw some of the plays where he was completely isolated, yet still made the play. But if you look at the next gen stats, everything like EPA, everything like pass rating when targeted, McMillian is an absolute dog. And, they didn't pick Jahdae Barron because they think Jaquan McMillian is bad. They picked Jahdae Barron because they think he's a stud. Like, he was the number 1 or number 9 ranked player on their big board for a reason, number 1 corner. And McMillian is going to be a huge piece to the Broncos in 2025. We're 5 or 6 corners deep, and I can't remember the last time we've ever been that deep. And, as far as the cornerback room, and McMillian is going to be on the field quite a bit. Like, a lot of people are really soured on him. A lot of people are just like, well, he didn't actually have that good of a year last year. I think that's total nonsense, especially considering how much the Broncos asked of their corners. Yeah, that basically does it for me. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.